joined by second-year Bills running back Ray Davis. Ray, welcome to the show. You're back for off-season workouts. What's it like being back in this building with your guys?
Feels fun. First of all, thank you for having me. It feels fun to be able to see the guys and just have fun all over again and lift and then, go do things in terms of off the field, going to dinner, playing golf. Like you're just developing that chemistry and that brotherhood. So it's definitely a good time because I was pretty bored in the off season.
And it's funny too because now after tomorrow, you're no longer a rookie. I mean, you've been around a calendar year. The draft happens. Now does it sit different with you?
I try to ask the guys, like, I'm a second year. They say, no, it doesn't count until you play your third game of your second season. So I'm still technically a rookie in their eyes. But
you got 1 year of experience. Yeah, I get it. But it does feel, I think for most guys, because now after this draft, you will have seen everything there is to see for, all the milestones and the first of this and first of that, first OTAs, first minicamp. Now it's going to be, everything's going to be happening for the second time. And there's going to be guys who were just like you in the door. So it's going to be like, oh, okay, now I've seen it. It's like, oh, I get it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's definitely being in the position I am now than being in the position I was a year ago is, completely 360. When you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you're going to be, that the outcome is something where you're just like, somebody please draft me. Somebody just give me that opportunity. And then now being in the position, it's time to get better now. I did everything I did year one. How do I take that step and become a better person and a better player year two?
Time to get better now. I remember we were like 2 weeks removed from the season. I was walking down the hallway and who do I see but Ray Davis already back in the building. I looked at you and I was like, why are you here? But Ray was here to continue to work and develop, and I think that says a lot about who you are as a player and a person. Why did you decide to come back so early and be in this building?
It was an opportunity to get around the strength staff, get around the training staff, and just put a plan together to see, okay, what are things we need to get better at, things that we are good at and we can improve. And that was always the biggest thing when the season ended. Obviously take a little bit of time off, gather what happened, but at the same time, like, let's come in and let's start this journey now. Let's start putting in this work so then when it's time to finish painting that picture before the season starts, we feel good, we feel comfortable, we could take that big, deep breath and just enjoy the season.
So you got this off season, and the first thing out of the box, you're going to be on this embedded. You have some cameras follow you. You went back to San Francisco, back home, spent some time at your middle school, had some fun. How was that experience letting the camera crew follow you around?
I loved it. I love being around the camera crew. Those three guys were amazing.
Oh, yeah, they're the guys in the building all day. Yeah, it's not like they were strangers either, right? Yeah,
they were amazing. Just to have them with my family, have them just join my journey, being a part of something that I grew up in my environment. So it was pretty cool to have them there, pretty cool to have the cameras and the kids. It was the kids, man. The kids just loved it. And Josh came through answering the FaceTime. And I think that's what you live for. You live to see smiles on other kids' faces because they're seeing some of their idols and they're seeing where they could be in a couple years.
If you're watching on MSG right now, you're seeing the scenes from this embedded episode at school with Ray. Ray, as you recall the scenes from this episode and how the team followed you, what are you most excited to show Bills Mafia through this embedded episode?
Really just, where I came from, coming from San Francisco, coming from the inner city, and just seeing the things that I went through, the trials and tribulations that I faced, but also seeing the people that was with me during that journey, right? The saying, it takes a village to raise someone. And that's just entirely what my whole story is about. It took a lot of different faces, a lot of different people to help me be where I'm at today. And to see some of those people get camera time for them to express and tell their stories about what they saw when I was younger, I think that's the best part, is to go home and see people who haven't seen me in years, but was able to feel like they were a part of it because they helped me get to where I was at.
So it's funny too, you guys, you get a chance to go back to your little community and they know you play for the Buffalo Bills and you play for Sean McDermott and Josh Allen, you're taking handoffs from Josh catching passes. They all want to know what he's, right? So it's become a thing. We saw Keon do it, now you FaceTime Josh right on the spot. And guy picks up.
I was shocked. They were like, who's the most famous person in your phone? I'm like, I'm pretty sure it might be Josh. And then I call him. I'm like, I don't think he'll answer. And then he answered. I was even shocked. But I was grateful. Josh is such a great person. And I think he shares the same thing that me and Keon. We want to put smiles on people's faces. And we know when they see somebody like that, it's definitely exciting.
Ray,
Right.
looking back on your rookie season, I remember just reflecting on this season in the weeks after the 2024 season and mentioning that you had 6 total touchdowns in your rookie year. That's a productive season. And I know there's work to build on and you want to improve in certain categories, but looking back on what you did in that first year in the NFL, what were you happy about? What were you most surprised about?
For me, the season, it went well. You know, there were things I can continue to get better at. There was things that I felt that I did do well at. But I think the whole reason I had a successful season is really just my room. You know, entirely the team itself, but my room, being in a room with James and Ty and Frank, those are guys who push me each and every day to become a better player. You know, it was a competitive room, but we also were, you know, teaching each other things that we didn't necessarily know about each other. You know, there's things that I wanted to get better at. There's things Ty wanted to get better at, James and Frank, right? And we're always communicative. We're always saying, hey, you know, maybe you could do this, or in the game, maybe read it different. It was never no hatred towards each other. It was, I want to see you grow. I want to see you become the best player you can. So that throughout my whole rookie year was just guys telling me, take your time, enjoy your rookie year. There's gonna be mistakes. You're not gonna be perfect, but they're going to have some good moments that you're going to be proud of, and there were some moments I felt proud of.
And running back room is a little different than other spots because, like on offensive line, you got 5 guys that are going to play, and they're going to play in their spot, and they left, you know, Osiris Torrance is going to be the right guard. He's going to be the right guard every play. You and Ty and James, you are interchangeable at the same spot. So you're all in. They'll call different plays for each of you, but you all play the exact same spot, and you spell each other. You comes off, you go on. You have a package of plays that are yours. He has a package of plays that are his, but you're playing the same position. And depending on what happens, I mean, you're all doing the exact same assignment. It's a different kind of room than the wide receiver room or the DB room or something like that. And explain just a little bit of the nuance of that, how you really do got to know each other.
Yeah, I mean, we all bring different styles and techniques to the game, right? You know, James is quick and is a slasher, and Ty's a bruiser, and, you know, I could be a bruiser and I could be a slasher too. So we all have 3 different elements to our game, but I think that's the good thing about it. You don't necessarily know what that next person is going to do. You know, you don't know if that person is going to take a toss. You don't know if that guy's going to be an inside zone, outside zone. You know, there's so many different combinations to all our games, and I think that's the great thing about being a running back is you can't just be one-dimensional, right? You have to be able to provide a different versatility that anybody else necessarily can. A receiver, a quarterback, O-lineman. You have to be able to do many different things. So for all of us to have different traits in our game and to go out there and just enjoy it and play our respective way and then be able to spell each other, you can't ask for no better running back by committee than you know, having James and Ty and myself.
Ray, I always say a rookie season is hard for players in so many different ways. You're learning an offense, you're learning a defense, but even more than that, you go through your final season in college football, then you train for the combine, then you hit the combine, then you're working out for teams ahead of the draft, you get drafted, and then you go through your rookie mini camp, OTAs, training camp, and then the NFL season. You really don't get a long break until you hit that first off season after your rookie year. How is it finally having an off season?
I hit the rookie wall 3 times. I'll be honest. I'll be the first to admit I hit the rookie wall 3 times. And like you said, it's just a long process. And it's an enjoyable process, but it's long. Going from bowl games to prepping for, you know, another bowl game, prepping for combine, prepping for all these different things and getting ready for the season. So it's the love of the game of knowing you're going to be able to keep playing football month after month after month, but then finally having that time off. You're able to spend time with family, give your body a rest, but you don't want to give yourself too much time because then, you know, you feel like you're just a potato on a couch. Right? Stay active.
Yeah. So most people know that, you know, once the season's over, you come back and, you know, it's that fateful day of locker clean out and the season's over, whether you win it all or don't. But what happens also is they give you like an exit interview. They tell you, all right, Ray, here's what we think. Yep. And how did that go for you after your rookie year? I mean, you obviously, you know, you were probably welcomed the information, say, hey, what do you think I need to work on? What do you want me to do to get better? Because it helps you keep your job, first of all. What was that like for you, and what they tell you about what your off season, what they wanted it to look like?
It was, it was very transparent. It's never wrong to take constructive criticism, and there's things that I could have done well throughout the season and be consistent and just continue to be that player that they wanted me to be each and every week, right? So the conversation really was just to come back and be ready. My plate could grow, my plate could not grow, and it's about being ready and having that ability where when it's your time, go out there and play your game and be yourself. That's kind of what I was saying is be you with us, right? Like be yourself, enjoy the moment, and however you play, however you bring the athletic ability to the team, we're going to be able to embrace it and try to get it out there and to the public, right? So my conversation was very transparent. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And, I love Skip. I love Joe because those guys are very upfront and they know I could be a good player and they know the things I need to continue to get
Kelly
better
Skipper
at.
and Joe Brady.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're great guys. Ray, going back to the embedded episode and some scenes that we'll see tonight as it's released at 7 o'clock, you are big with big brothers and big sisters. That is important to you. Can you explain why it's so important to you and what that organization means to you?
It's huge to me. When I was younger, I didn't necessarily live a kid's life. I went through some struggles, and when Big Brothers Big Sisters was put in my life and I was having the opportunity to be around Patrick Daly, which was my big at that time, I got to be a kid. I got to have fun. I got to do the things that an 8-year-old, 9 and 10-year-old should be doing at that age, right? Going to batting cages, arcade games, et cetera, et cetera. So understanding how big mentorship is and understanding that having someone there to provide comfort is monumental for a kid who's young, and even when you get to your teenage, right? You gotta understand that sometimes it could be not someone who's your family member who's very supportive. It could be someone who just wants to see you grow, who has necessarily no strings attached to you, but they just want to see you become the person you need to become, right? So being part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters was so big to me, and I'm pushing it extremely out there because to have people join Big Brothers Big Sisters, we need bigs. Bigs are so monumental to littles because they just see a consistent face, a consistent presence of someone who just wants to spend 2-3 hours with them. It's not that hard to go and be there for somebody because 10, 20 years later, me and Patrick didn't think I'd be in the NFL, right? We didn't think we'd have the ability to be spokesman for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And I want to see that same journey, if not better, with another child and another big, right? Like someone could be a doctor, a lawyer. There are so many outcomes, not necessarily just being an NFL player. Like go and change someone's life and let them change your life. I got to give a speech at a wedding at 10. Like imagine that, right? Like I got to go on my first flight with someone who wasn't a family member. I got to just do things that I wish I was able to do with a family member at that time, but I was able to do with somebody who was a mentor who wanted to see me grow.
You said you got to give a speech at a wedding at 10. It's easy to see you are a natural in front of the microphone, and you have been at award ceremonies. You do a lot of stuff with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Do we see you being an analyst or an on-air personality in your future as you play in the NFL as well?
That's the goal. That's why I got that degree from Vanderbilt. I got the communication studies degree, and I've always wanted to do sports analyst. I always want to do sports commentating. I would love to work on ESPN someday, Sports Center. Right now, I'm starting slow. I want to be able to get a podcast out there and just have people listening to just some free game, free advice. Whether it's about sports, whether it's about life, anything. Just being able to just kind of give my 2 cents and paint out a blueprint of, in my eyes, how to become successful through adversity.
All right,
Ray, one more question for you before we let you go. Now that you're back in the building, there's a buzz about the players being back. We feel it when you guys are here, and there's so many familiar faces back in this building. Some new ones as well, which will be a great addition to this year's roster. Why are you excited about this upcoming season?
I'm excited because we got some guys who want to come in and compete, who want to win, and who want to hoist a trophy at the end of the season, right? So when everybody has the same goal, has the same mindset, that's when okay, we can be successful, right? And I think the guys that they added are huge pieces. The guys that we already have in this building are huge pieces. Now it's about just putting this painting together and making sure it's the best Picasso painting that anybody's ever seen, right? And then at the end of the day, whatever the season entails is whatever it entails. But I think we got the right guys in the locker room, the right guys in this building, and the right staff.
Ray, you can come on the show anytime you want and hone your skills as a commentator. It's great seeing you. Congratulations, and it's good to have you back in the building.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.